Hello, hello. Good morning. Happy Friday. How are you ladies doing? So I was above honored that I was asked to come on here. For those of you that it's like chilly in my house. And I really hope that you guys see this and it's not like post pending. But if no one's on, I'm gonna still keep going. You can catch the replay. So for anyone that's interested, my name is Brittany Metke, and I am a Ruby National Executive with Color Street, and I am in your up line. But a few of you may know I run the Dream Team page with Michelle Colello. I joined Color Street July 21st, 2017. And I'm going to tell you my story, and just so you can, get to know me a little bit and see like why. Knowing your why and having a strong cause will get you through those hard times if you're honest about it. And what I can tell you for sure, my why has for sure changed over 3 years. It's always evolving, but always being true to it has helped me. So mine's going to go back way before I found Color Street. Color Street was my first time building really in direct sales. So I came here with no experience, but Brittany, a long time ago, I was a drug addict, and really bad. I grew up my parents were great. We are military, middle class family, moved around a lot, suburban. And so it wasn't anything on that end, as far as the worst, thing was me moving around a lot. I did experience some abuse, when I got older. And then I think just trying to fit in and having a boyfriend, I got really bad with drugs. And I don't say a little excessive partying. At the end of my road, I ended up being a IV heroin user, and I just could not get clean. And when I say this, I'm talking about jails, institutions, just in and out. My parents planning my funeral. I eventually, because of drug addiction, I actually became a convicted felon at the age of 23 years old. Because I stole some things, and my parents felt it was the only way to help me. I was homeless, so they called the police, and charges were pressed. Basically, I had the opportunity to get clean, and then the charges would go away, but I couldn't. I literally couldn't. I was being monitored on probation. At this point, I was on felony probation. I had to drop. I had to do drug tests. They were random. You're given a color. You called every day. If it was your color, you had to go down to the courthouse. And that was crazy. Thinking of that, normally 23-year-olds are living their best life in college. And I was at the point where I was, homeless or living in squalor, with in and out of different places. I was trying to, at this point, I was trying to get my life back, but I just couldn't get clean. I was working as a server, and I was living in a really, really bad spot. But it was all I could afford because all of my money went to drugs. And, I called, and it was supposed to be, I was supposed to go in and drop, and I knew that my color, I knew it would be dirty, right? And I was looking at that point, 24 years old, and I was looking at 7 years in prison if I violated my probation, and I was terrified. So I made the decision to just not go, and that's called absconding. And so that's what happened. I kind of went on the run for a little bit, but not really, because I was still at my, my last known address and stuff, but I just wasn't going to go to report. And at that point, I had felt pretty hopeless, kind of thinking this is just how my life was going to be. And I didn't want to do that or live that way anymore. And I had this check coming. I was working at a server, and it was a vacation check. And I kind of actually made the decision. It was August 3rd, 2009. I always will remember this day, that I was going to go pick up the check and get enough drugs and kill myself. I was just done, and I had just came to that point where I just felt hopeless, and I was just causing more pain and than anything else. And I remember looking down at my phone, and I drafted these texts to send to my parents, you know, that I was sorry and I love them, and was gonna get dressed and run and go pick up that check, and there was like this bang, doom, doom, doom on the door, and I was like, oh my God, and it's like the police, and I didn't answer. It went quiet for a little bit. I was like, okay, they must have went away. In my mind, I'm like, okay, they must have went away. This day is still so clear to my head, and it was about 10 minutes later. I'm in the process of putting on clothes so I could run out, and the door gets kicked in. Doom. And it was like, Brittany Metke, da-da-da-da, you're under arrest, because they send U.S. Marshals to serve all felony warrants in Franklin County. And I was done. I surrendered. I basically, I always say I felt like I was rescued rather than being arrested. I was awaiting. I sat in jail. I withdrawal cold turkey from heroin in jail back in 2009, awaiting my sentence to see if I was going to be sent to prison. But while I was in there, I kind of made the decision that, like, no matter what happened, I was done, and I was just going to go forward, and just, I wanted to do the right thing. So I was going to be okay with that. 4 months come and go, and, you know, the judge decided to give me another chance. And let me leave on house arrest, and then I had to do a halfway house program, but that was the end of my using finally. Because I decided to start doing things differently, and started to, and like that why that kept me clean. About 6 months after being clean, I got pregnant with my first child. And that was not something that was planned at all. And I think, having her, really helped me. I actually named her middle name. Her name's Rhea Hope. And then, so we're going to fast forward a little bit, because, you're like, what's Color Street have to do with this? So we're going to fast forward a little bit. Now I have these felony convictions. Now I'm a mom, I'm getting an education, but I really cannot get a good job with these felony convictions at all. Trying to do everything I can, working hard, but I'm still on food stamps. I'm still on Medicaid. And at this point, I was in a horrible relationship with my children's father, because I was so financially dependent. It was very much like, I didn't have anyone outside. I was so dependent. I didn't really do anything outside of like social media. The only thing that brought me joy was being a mom. So I was just like, well, I can do that. But I was stuck, and I wasn't happy, and I wasn't showing them what love was supposed to be like. So I was just trying to figure out what to do. Still working at Red Lobster as a server on all the things, Medicaid, food stamps, WIC, food pantries, then the payday loans every single week, borrowing money, and like that's like how we got by. Anything good we had was really just the generosity of strangers or my parents trying to help, because those were their grandchildren. And that's kind of where I was. I had no self-esteem. I didn't think I deserved better. And I actually had kind of transferred my drug addiction to food addiction. At this point, I had gotten up to like my highest weight ever was 340 pounds. And that's just, I was just protecting myself and just going through the steps. And I remember like, I kind of got excited because Red Lobster had offered me the position to train to be like an hourly type manager, which to me was like going to be huge. Like I was like, I'm going to have a better set schedule. I'm going to have insurance. I think that what I was going to be making a year was like $40,000 a year. And that was like so good, because I was missing out on weekends and nights. If you've ever worked in the restaurant industry, it's so hard. And my manager believed in me, and the district manager believed in me, and they trusted me, and they were already allowing me to do all the things, but they wanted to let, corporate do. So I was so excited. Like, I was like, I have a purpose. I can be a role model to my kids. Like, this was exciting for me. And I did all this extra training. I put some money in to get ServSafe certified, took the test and everything. And I was like, this is going to be a new start. This is like moving up, for me. And I remember that day. It was in November 2016. I was pregnant with my 4th child. And it was rainy. It was like the day after the election, and I'm driving, and I get a call from Orlando, and I answer it because that's where their home office is, and they're like, hey, Brittany, how are things? I'm just calling to let you know that legal looked over at this point, my felonies were 10 years old, over 10 years old. Looked over, and we decided because of your past felonies that we're not gonna, we're not going to move forward with your position. I remember that day, like, it was just as hopeless as I did right before I got clean. Like, I was like, why? Why am I trying? Why do I keep, like, what was the point? I felt really, really stuck and hopeless. Because I thought I saw, like, a way out. And, like, for me, there was only, like, me maybe taking the kids to the shelter. I did not expect to cry. But, like, you're like, why do I keep trying to do these things? And, like, I've changed my life. They're over 10 years old. And, like, nobody wanted to give me a chance, and I just was trying to do the right thing every single day, and I felt like I was just, like, so stuck every single day. Fast forward a couple months into March, my baby was born. He was premature. My eyes are burning now. Fun fact, if you ever get eyelash extensions and then you cry, your eyes burn. It's so annoying. You can't be the ice queen. So anyways, fast forward into March, early March. Coda Cruz is born early. I had a gestational diabetes with him, and then I also developed preeclampsia. So I was on hospital bed rest for a little bit, and then they decided to take him early by C-section. And that ended up with him being in the NICU for almost 2 weeks, which never happened with any of my babies before. It was a new experience. And it was scary. I don't know how any of you NICU mamas have done it, because that was only 2 weeks, and it was hard, like, not having my baby right there. And I got him, and I was just like, I want to be with my kids. I want to stay home, and I want to be with my kids. Like, that's what I want to do. How can I make this work? I got invited to an online party for something like in April of 2017, not Color Street, but it was for something that one of my friends from high school was doing. And it was actually LuLaRoe selling clothes. And I thought it was fun. And I was like loving the community, and I was just like, and I remember her kept saying these words, like, you can be your own boss, and you can make your own schedule and more free time. And I was like, this is something, this is what I want. I had no idea about direct sales, MLMs, nothing before that. I always tried to support my friends, but I didn't have money. So I was a host always. I was always a hostess. I had no problem doing that, but I never knew what it meant or anything. I didn't even know LuLaRoe was an MLM. So what happens is, April 2017, I sign up to be a LuLaRoe consultant. And in that meantime, there was like a 12-week wait. So in that 12 weeks, I'm like, how can I get this money for the kid? It's $5,000. You guys know how I was living. $5,000 may as well have been $5 million. However, I was getting a tax return that I got in February, so I put a little bit from that, and then I just started hustling because you didn't have to have the money till you got the call. So I'm like doing all the things, trying to like sell all this stuff in my house, asking my dad for money, asking my grandma for money, and just like piling all this stuff away. And then I got the call. It was actually like end of June, and I launched LuLaRoe July 8th. Because what was crazy when I signed the link for LuLaRoe, when I applied in my mind, I'm thinking like, I'm just going to get rejected. I always get rejected. They're going to look my name up and they're going to be like, Brittany, no. So that was a win for me at all. I was like, oh my God, they let me, I didn't know how it worked. So it was funny. Like I was just like, I was accepted. And so fast forward, I launched my LuLaRoe business, right? And I'm like with the kids, like working, and I'm actually like those first few weeks, like I'm selling clothes. I made my that 5,000 back within a couple weeks. I am hustling because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. Right. Didn't build a team, but there, you know, you have some clothes, you flip it, you sell it. I was doing everything. And this was me starting with no market, but I like remember I dived in and I'm watching all the trainings and I'm doing everything I can with starting from nothing. Hours. I would literally watch hours, like pair it and stay up late and do everything I can, finding secondhand, hangers and just trying to set up things, because I just wanted to be home with the kids. Through my LuLaRoe team page, they were talking about different products that were cool, and my, now sponsor, Katie Harbison, was actually in my LuLaRoe team somewhere. And she was like, I'm surprised no one's mentioned this. It's like nail polish. It's so cool. And I'm like, that sounds really cool. So then we messaged, I ordered 2 sets. She's trying to get me to sign up right away. I'm like, are you effing kidding me right now? Do you see I have a clothes full of basement? I'm already not, I would... And like my husband at the time would kill me. He was okay with me working from home and doing that. But like if I added another thing, because at that point, like he still wasn't happy he wasn't very happy with me. If anyone's ever been in that type of relationship, you know what it is. Like I wasn't as dependent. I didn't have to ask as much for things. I was able to like go. And so there was already that friction there. Like not wanting me to be successful and seeing like what that could mean. So I signed up for Color Street though, because I loved it. And I just saw the potential and I was just like, oh my God. And I was just like, this stuff will work good with my clothes. Like I can pair up outfits and stuff like that. So, I sign up, and I hide all of my posts, like from my ex. Like I actually blocked him from everything. And that was kind of how that went. He ended up finding out a few months later by like picking up my phone, but I had it hidden from him for a while. Pretty good. So what happened is I start realizing that LuLaRoe isn't really going to help me do what I want to do. Because, yeah, even though I'm home with my kids, I'm not really home with my kids. Like, I'm literally having a 24/7 hustle, trying to get and so Color Street seemed to fit the model of I wanted. LuLaRoe also started to get a lot of bad press, so that was a big thing. And so I kind of shifted my focus to Color Street. Went out of business over there. My why has always driven me. If you listen, like my why of like why I decided to actually not take my life before I had kids is just realizing that I was made for a little bit more. And then my why, once I, those years of being in recovery and still not, is just because I wanted to be a role model for my children. I wanted to be a role model for myself. I was like stuck in this relationship. I wanted to do something for myself. My why definitely has shifted over and over. Like I was able to leave that relationship. I remember telling him, like, you're going to regret this. And I was able to, because of Color Street, 100% leave him. And like that was a big deal because it was so important for me to be able to be a have my sons have an example of how a man should really treat a woman. I'm not speaking bad about him as a father, but, you know, just as a husband, like the cheating and all that. And I wanted my daughter to know how a man should treat, and I wanted them to know what it was like to see that love. That was really important for me, for them to see parents or people and have a really good example of love and know that you can keep trying and come back from things. That you can make a mistake and it doesn't have to define your life for the rest of your life, you know? And so that drives me, and it has driven me. And I remember, like, my first 5 months were slow here. I wasn't building a team because I didn't have a huge network or anything before, and I'm starting to get my groove, and I definitely could have quit, but I just felt like I had no other choice, you guys. Like, from thinking of where I came from, like, I had no other choice to make it work. Like, I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I'm hearing all these stories of these people, like, being able to, you know, do things, and I knew that with my record, I could not make it anywhere else. There was nothing. So I just felt like, okay, we'll stick to it. I kept trying to do all the different things. I literally put everything. I'm like, everything. I'm going to do everything. I like remember for that first year, like I love Big Brother. I didn't even watch Big Brother that summer. Everything went into hustling and trying to figure out how to make this work for me. You know, and I've had some ups and downs in this business. Like, yeah. Sometimes where I'm like, oh my gosh, is this even worth it? Like, but it 100% is. And there's times where I thought I was failing. I was able to pay 100% cash for weight loss surgery in 2018. I had my first 5-figure check in March 2018. I've lost over 100 pounds. I get to tell my story to people and inspire other people to stop living like under that like mask and like share their truth and be authentic, and that we don't have to listen to those lies in our head, and that we can come back from anything and it's okay. And there's always going to be someone that can relate, and we don't have to be ashamed. And I remember when I first shared my story of my past being a felony, it wasn't until I hit executive director. And I shared it with my upline, and she's like, why don't you talk about this more? And I was like, I am ashamed. Like, I don't want people to think that bad stuff about me that I think about myself. And she's like, but you're not there anymore. So, like, people will be inspired. So I remember, like, she had me go live in, like, her join group and stuff, and this is Team Fancy Fingers, and then the company got wind, and they asked me to actually share that story, on stage at National Conference in 2018. By then, I was a senior director, you know. I had just reached, that was July 2018, I had just made $100,000 from Color Street. So in a year, I made $100,000. Now, you know, and I've had ups and downs, and I've had times where I'm like, what's going on? It's always usually because of me. You know, I do struggle with depression and anxiety. I get in funks and stuff. We all have that stuff. I remember, May 2019, I did not maintain my rank because I had kind of let myself get in a hole. And for me, I was a national, and not maintaining and hitting senior executive meant that I lost like this 3rd generation pay. That time was $30,000. And I remember like it all hit me like bricks that midnight at the end of the month. Like, what did I do? What did you do, Brittany? And then again, you kind of have this choice, right? Like, I can either, you know, just give up and accept like this is how it is and this is how it's going to be, or I can start taking action. We always know what it is. And it's the same, like, and I use the stuff that keeps me clean every day, like that being coachable and using those things on a daily basis that keep me clean and sober. I use them for my business. I use them for my life. Like a lot of it's interchangeable. So I'm like, you stopped doing the daily things, Brittany, that was helping you grow your business, right? So that was, I've never lost rank again. And in fact, I promoted to Sapphire a few months later, had a record-breaking month, of enrolling 12 stylists. In that year alone, 2019, I just started doing what I needed to do. But I remember I could have made that choice to be okay with where I was, right? Because it was still better, right? It was still better than where I'd been before, but I know that I was made for more. Always. And I will always want to be that example. So there's I have some personal whys, and then I have some surface whys of what I want. I want to be that example. And those are the things that keep me going. And then there's those deep whys of wanting to feel worth, wanting to have an identity, and so all of it drives me. Is that the example I want to be? No. So let's get to work, Brittany. And realizing that you can lose rank and come up and come out even further, right? Because we all have those bad days and those bad months, but it's what are we doing? What can we do? We can start over at any time. We're having a bad day, we can start it over. I've had to do that before. And I remember I actually did a total relaunch, and I was sharing this with someone else who's kind of in a funk right now. I was honest with my VIP group. I was honest with my team. I did a whole relaunch. I had it, exactly what we tell a new stylist to do, that I did that. I reached out to my Franks again. I even made new business cards. I was ready to go. I was committed to, taking that action and starting over again. And I was not going to be complacent and okay with just where I was, because I know I was made for more and I can keep going. And for me, Color Street has allowed me to use this as a vehicle to inspire other women that feel, it may not be the exact same as me, but I know there's so many that feel like they have to settle, that they, that they're not made to do more. Things are just, they have to be okay with how things are. And I've been able to share that. And I feel even if their goal isn't to kill it in Color Street, I know I've given some women some courage, and having this, format and this platform is because of Color Street. And being able to have that platform is another part of my why. I want to be able to inspire women. And even if it's not with our business, I still want to help. I just want to help. I'm able to I'm currently now, I have a 6-figure a month income. I'm an annual 7-figure income earner with Color Street. I'm allowed to give back. I'm able to give back on massive ways to help women who were exactly where I was. We're in the process of opening some sober houses. I'm always, going into the jail almost every Saturday morning, but when we were allowed to. I'm just constantly able to give back financially and time-wise to help people where I was, I was able to afford to get my record expunged. As of a few months ago, I am no longer on paper a convicted felon. No one can look it up. You will never see it. No one, unless I tell someone, they will never be able to use that against me. And I want to help people be able to do that too. And that's the stuff that drives me. And I don't think I actually, when I signed up, thought that it was going to be this big. I just, it wasn't my why, the day I signed up, my why is to be able to have this big of an impact, have an income that I never dreamed about. I really only wanted $1,000 extra a month so I could stay home and just things be how they are. I didn't make the conscious decision when I signed up, this is to leave that guy, because at the moment when I signed up, I didn't believe that was possible. I didn't believe that I deserved more. So it wasn't a plan, but it's when you start seeing this stuff happen, you start to believe in yourself a little bit more, then you stop tolerating stuff that you used to. And I started to get a confidence, and I'm no, I deserve more. So it wasn't finding I had this clear cut why when I started, but it eventually, it's peeling the layers on an onion. It started to come true. But I do think having a strong why will get you out of any bad day, any excuse you have. And just thinking about that. And, you know, I've been on masterminds and they say, you know, if your why doesn't make you cry, then it's not it and it's not going to work. And as you guys see here, like, I can't think about it and speak about it without crying because it just means that much. It's me. And it's crazy that it's all from nail polish, right? We're really, really, really lucky to be here. You know, if you're not where you want to be yet, I get it. I have felt that too. But what I think is, like, what would it have been like if I would have given up? Because if we give up, all we have to do, we have to start all over again. Like, there's really, there's really no such thing as failure. It's just like you succeed or you quit. Like, you make that decision and you'll just have to keep starting over and over again, right? I remember I just had a girl that I personally enrolled. She hit senior stylist after 2 months, after 2 years. 2 years she hit senior stylist and we celebrated it. And she is dedicated. She will do this for years if it takes, because she has that. And she has a past just like mine, and she is committed. Like I talked about yesterday on the Dream Team page, like I recruited myself. She's recruited herself. You know, that's the first person. No one else will believe in you unless you do it. So those are some things I really hope this touches someone, you know, or helps someone, you know, maybe realize some truths or just keep going if you're having a bad day. We all have been there. Some of us have worse than others, but you have the support and love here. We all get it. And we may not have the same stories, but we all have those same like feelings and thoughts based off of our experiences, I promise you. You know, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and keep selling. I put from my fall bundle, I really love these. So you guys have a great day. Bye.